Today, we're taking a close look at a car that often lives in the shadow of its more famous siblings, a 1973 Pontiac LeMans Luxury Coupe. Finished in a shade commonly known as desert sand, this particular example wears a color that's unapologetically period correct. It's bold, it's warm, and depending on your taste, it's either charming or a little too yellow for comfort. But regardless of personal preference, this color does something important. It highlights one of the most sculptural body designs to come out of General Motors in the early 1970s. It was designed to deliver comfort, presence, and quiet sophistication at a time when the American automotive industry was being reshaped by safety regulations, emissions laws, and rising insurance costs. The 1973 model year marked a turning point for GM's A-body lineup. Every intermediate car, the Pontiac LeMans, Oldsmobile Cutlass, Buick Regal, and Chevrolet Malibu, rode on an all-new platform. This redesign wasn't optional. Federal bumper regulations required 5 mph impact protection, forcing designers to rethink proportions, overhangs, and structure. What could have been purely functional ended up giving these cars a heavier, more substantial presence, and Pontiac leaned into that strength. The LeMans Luxury had actually debuted 1 year earlier in 1972, but 1973 was the first time it appeared on this fully redesigned chassis. That makes this car both an early Colonnade-era Pontiac and a reflection of GM's attempt to redefine midsize luxury. From the front, this car is unmistakably Pontiac. The large, upright bumper dominates the nose, a direct result of new impact standards, but Pontiac designers cleverly integrated it into the overall theme. Above it sits the brand's signature beak-like center section, a styling cue that traces its roots back to the late 1960s Grand Prix. The hood and fenders feature carefully layered surfaces. A subtle fender peak runs along the top edge, while a flat, catwalk area leads the eye toward the centerline of the hood, forming that classic Pontiac arrowhead shape. Unlike earlier models, quad headlights are gone. All A-body cars for 1973 received dual headlamps, a cost-saving move by GM, but also one that gives this front end a cleaner, more focused appearance. The grille itself is unique to the luxury trim, featuring a vertical pattern and Pontiac's long-standing twin-port theme, a design identity that had been part of the brand since 1959. The body sides feature what can best be described as dual torpedo sculpting, one form emerging from the front fender and another swelling outward over the rear quarter panel. These aren't single creases, but layered surfaces that catch light differently depending on angle and color. Lighter paint like desert sand makes these shapes visible in a way darker colors simply don't. You can actually see the design work here, the subtle tension between flat planes and rounded volumes. One unique detail is the one-piece rear bumper with its raised center section surrounding the license plate. It's both functional and distinctive, a small touch that adds character. Step inside, and the exterior color theme continues, boldly. The interior is trimmed in matching hues, giving the cabin a very 1970s personality. While some might prefer contrast, there's no denying the authenticity here. This car was ordered with bucket seats and a center console, adding a hint of sportiness, even though it lacks rally gauges or air conditioning. Instead, it reflects a buyer focused on style and comfort rather than performance options. This Canadian market LeMans Luxury is powered by a Chevrolet Source 350 cubic inch V8, a factory installation, not a swap. During this era, Canadian Pontiacs often used Chevrolet engines depending on plant location and option combinations. In this case, the 350 is a two-barrel unit, producing modest horsepower but delivering smooth, reliable torque. This engine was never about speed. It was about quiet cruising, easy maintenance, and relaxed highway driving, perfectly aligned with the luxury model's mission. Power steering and power brakes were standard expectations, and emissions equipment like the air injection pump reflects the regulatory environment of the early 1970s. The 1973 Pontiac LeMans Luxury Coupe represents a fascinating moment in American automotive history, a time when style, regulation, and corporate strategy collided. It's not a muscle car. It's not flashy. But it is beautifully designed, historically significant, and far more interesting than many people give it credit for.